Gentlemen, here are some tips and tricks for the new merge tactics update that I've noticed and I haven't really seen anyone else talk about. But with that being said, I've got the stylus pen out today, so you know we mean business, and let's jump into it. So starting off, if you didn't already know, they have changed the visual indicator for who you're going to verse next. Before, I believe it used to be like a skull or a cross or something, but now it's just look at the person's player card, and if they have these red flames behind them, you are versing them next. So Rodriguez is on the chopping block. He's versing me next, for example. Next, they've used or revitalized, I'd say, repurposed the board. I can see that he actually has 2 units on the board, on his board. Now, I can't see the star level of these units, and I also can't see what they actually are, like whether it's a Mega Knight or it's a Golden Knight or it's a Goblin. I can't actually see what it is. But why this is useful, you might be saying, hey, why is any of this useful? Okay, I can see they've got 2 units on the board. I don't know if it's a 4-star Golden Knight or a 1-star Goblin. Well, why it's useful is, especially if you're a Spirit Empress player, you normally will buy low-cost units to merge them together and then sell them so you can go up 1 elixir. You're trying to generate elixir with that strategy. And as you get later in the game, what you will find, and also as you rise in the number of trophies, these scumbags, Zila, Rodriguez, and Ada, who's already out of the game, you will find that they will start blocking. They will start picking up your unit. They'll start picking up some of these units and leaving them on their bench, just so it removes those units from the pool. And therefore, it doesn't matter how much you cycle, how many units you sell looking for that, let's say, 1 last baby dragon for a 3-star baby dragon. It doesn't matter. These dogs are holding it on their bench. And so using the information that, okay, Rodriguez has 2 units on the bench. If I look at Zila, maybe they have a few units. I can make a calculated decision saying, maybe they're holding units. Maybe it isn't smart for me to try to sell some of my 2-star units because I want a strong board right now. I don't want to take any damage to my health, and so I'm going to not roll. That's why it's really useful. Something else that's also really important is knowing when your opponent has sold their elixir pump. Now, this is a different modifier. I don't have it down here, but the modifier essentially starts you off with an elixir pump that generates a certain number of elixir every turn as long as you don't sell it. And so if I was to sell this elixir pump right now, I would get +7 elixir. And why it's important to be able to see if your opponent has sold their elixir pump is because, let's say, for example, Rodriguez doesn't have that strong of a board. I think I win this here. But let's say next turn I'm looking at his board and he hasn't really changed. And then all of a sudden I see that he's sold his elixir pump. I know he's about to do a big roll down. He's going to be purchasing units and he's going to be selling them, and he's going to be trying to upgrade these to 3-star units and these ones to 2-star units, and he's going to add some more units in the back line. And then all of a sudden, I've lost the game because in a matter of 5 seconds, this guy has sold his pump and he's picked up a bunch of 2- and 3-star units, and all of a sudden, I'm down to 0 health. So that's why it's really important as well to be able to, especially when you're playing the modifier that has the elixir pump, to look at your opponent's boards and see if they've already sold the elixir pump or when they do sell the elixir pump. So you can also time your roll down, because if I see him sell and start to pick up units on the board, like this will update real time if things pop up here. If I start to see that, fuck it, I'm going to sell this too, especially if we're the last 2 alive. Let's say Zeal is gone. I'm going to sell this too. I'm going to roll down and I'm going to try to upgrade these units. Okay, next thing is, in the past season, whenever you would click on somebody else's player card and you'd look at their board, for example, this Goblin, now we're versing each other, so the Goblin is on the right side. In the past season, if I clicked on Rodriguez's board, it would appear on the left side because the boards were mirrored. Now with the new season, you don't have to worry about that. This will appear, if I was to click on Rodriguez's board or player card right now, it would appear on the right side. And as we're seeing right now, we're versing each other, it's going to appear on the right side. This is really useful because it now makes it easier to position your units correctly, so you can kill certain units first, you can target certain units with abilities, and it just means it saves you the headache from trying to mirror things in your mind. Something that's also really useful in combination with information about somebody's board is that even though you don't know what those actual units are that they have on their board, let's say there's 2 units here, for example, and we're looking at 6-pack's board, we might see in this little drop down that shows that he's merged 2 spear goblins together. And let's say his comp has no spear goblins. I might use that information, maybe make a kind of an executive decision, make a decision saying, hey, maybe he's holding spear goblins. Maybe that's why I can't get them. It's just demonstrating that there is actually quite a bit of information being provided to you that you can start to use and you can make better decisions with. Are you going to make the right decision every single time? No. But if you have more information, you can at least base your decisions on more facts. Now, why this is also really interesting is because these trait kind of icons only happen when units appear on the board, like when they activate the blasters or the goblin trait. But these merges they can happen on the bench too. They will show up. Even if a merge has happened, x plus x equals 2x, if this merge happens on the bench, they will show up in this information too. So again, you might not know exactly what they have on the bench, but maybe you can take a guess, unless they of course sell it. But then you'll see another icon pop up if they sold and bought some more units that get merged together. Something also that's a bit different about this new season is instead of calculating how much a unit sells for, especially 2-star units, you might not know exactly how much they sell for. Normally you could tap a unit, let's say for example, this bandit, and a little information tab would pop off to the side here, and you'd see all the information about the bandit, and somewhere over there, it would show you how much it sells for. Now what you can actually do is just hold over the bandit, and right next to the elixir symbol, there'll be like a +3, for example. If that's a 1-star bandit, you can sell it for 3 elixirs. So it's another visual indicator and helping you figure out how much a unit sells for. And I think that's really valuable. Troops are also now presented in a random order in the shop. Previously, I believe it was in ascending order based on elixir, and now it's random. Bench units also will no longer be auto-deployed even if you haven't hit your max team size. So for example, this image shows round 1, but let's say it was round 2, and I had 1 skeleton dragon on the board. There will be a little indicator here in the middle saying 1 out of 2. Even if I just have the Skelly Dragon down here and I've got the Spear Goblin and the Bandit on my bench, when the round starts, these 2 or one of them, either of them, will not be auto-deployed. They used to be auto-deployed. They used to push out if you had space on your board. That won't happen anymore, so it's important. It's really important to keep that in mind because you might be cycling through these units and forget to actually place your units on the board that you have on the bench, and you'll be at a severe disadvantage, which we don't want. Okay, we've got 2 more tips for you for this new season and also in this season. How you lose health points is if you lose a game or you lose the round, you lose 1 health point automatically. And then depending on the number of troops left from the enemy, you also lose 1 health point for every troop that the enemy has on the board. So if I lost by 2 troops, for example, there's 2 troops on the board, I lose 1 health point for a loss, plus 2 for the 2 troops on the board. That's 3 health points, and I'm down to 7. And in this season, there are troops that spawn skeletons or copies of troops, but are not actually troops themselves. What I mean by that is, for example, the Skelly Dragon, that's actually not the Skelly Dragon. That is the copy of Skelly Dragon. That's one of its abilities where it'll duplicate itself after a certain number of hits or after a certain number of time. So the game doesn't actually treat this as an actual troop. So if, for example, I lose this round, even though I've also got my own duplicated Skelly Dragon, that doesn't matter. Let's say the last remaining troop on the board is this duplicated copy Skelly Dragon. I only lose 1 health point because I lost the round. Because technically the game doesn't count this as like an actual troop that you can purchase from the shop. It's a duplicate, as part of an ability. And so I only lose 1 health point. So if you're in kind of a terrible situation and you know you're going up against a Skelly Dragon, or for example, the Queen also spawns skeletons, and so does the Skelly King too. He also spawns skeletons. If either of them, if there's only skeletons remaining that kill you, you'll only lose 1 health point because those are not treated as actual troops. Let's roll the clip here so you can actually see this in action. Okay, we're now at the end. Last tip. I think you probably know if you've played this game a little bit that Juggernauts provide this 11-second shield to Juggernaut units and any units that stand behind them. What is really special about the shield isn't the health bonus, but if I read the actual trait for the Juggernauts, it is Juggernauts and allies behind them get a shield that lasts for 11 seconds or until it's depleted, granting them extra hit points, okay, and control immunity. I don't think people realize there is control immunity with the Juggernauts. What this means is that they're immune to stuns, to polymorphs, dash by the knight. The musketeer as well will not push them back if the shield is still active. So if you're not playing the Juggernauts right now, please do, because they are immune to, I'm going to read out a couple other things. They're immune to the Electro Wizard Super Shock, Mega Knight's jumps, bandits, dashes, goblin machines, rockets. With that, we're done. These are some things I noticed. If you enjoyed it, follow for more. We're rolling out these videos every single day. I love this game. I think it has a future. And wherever you are, whatever time it is, be bloody great.